Alright, afternoon everybody in the VHR. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I'm going to go ahead and just do a little discussion. This is some of the stuff that I used to do in the past, so I'm going to do it now. This is top execution in the last 2 weeks by a guild at the relative item level. So I'm going to hit play here, and what I want you to do is kind of just look at how they're approaching the fight, and then we're going to talk a little bit about some of the adjustments we're going to make, okay? Now, once this video is over with, please take the time to make sure that you're subscribed. If you're not as part of the raid team, please do so. If you're a new guest to our channel, thank you so much for taking a look at our material. Also, if you get an opportunity, comment. You can either do so on our Facebook page or go to our forums, okay? So the fight's begun. They burnt Murtaugh down, and now they're just cleaning up the center. We want to make sure that we're looking at, so for example, if you're a DPS or you're a tank or you're a healer, what you can do is you can set it up to where damage is done, and then you can take a look at the top damage dealer. So right now, for example, their rogue is, right? So I clicked on the rogue. That way I've got his target up consistently, and as the damage, as you're watching this replay in the logs, you're seeing what he's going from, or she, from target to target as they burn through it. Now you see the spacing is in the middle right now. They're working through a Fellcaster. You'll be able to see as they go from target to target as far as what they're trying to get to, and naturally, as we know, it moves forward to about 1 minute, and that's when you get your split. Alright, so then here comes the tanks. You have position 1, position 2 for the two teams that are broken up. They're going after their targets appropriately. They're still burning down a caster here. You see how they put a mark on it? They're using skull and X for the two sides, just like we do. Look at the piling, and just observe how they kind of hold their structure and what they look for. Now, a couple of adjustments that we want to make sure that we're making consistently is that we need to make sure that we're taking down tanks as promptly as possible. The sooner that we get that ammunition up, the sooner that the event can end. As we rotate from that, then we also want to make sure that we're looking for the correct target rotation. Now, we want to look at Martok. Then we want to go after Crushers. We want to make sure that we take down Terrors as soon as they come up, so make sure you have some sort of notification that's highlighting that for you. And then we want to make sure that we focus on the mini-bosses as we go through. Then it goes into the other Fellfire siege vehicles, which is the tanks, transports, etc. Make sure that we're getting down, then hulking Berserkers, Casters, Engineers, Dragoons, okay? Now that kill order fluctuates, alright? You want to make sure though that that's what you're prioritizing as they come through. You're listening for the call-outs and you're doing so as promptly as possible. Now there's two ways to approach when the middle comes together. We can do a single target and rotate through the proper targets, or and with corresponding cooldowns to sit there and help us, or we can do a single target. We'll look at what we have. I would like to try the AoE stuff out a little bit because the AoE stuff seems to be pretty prominent and it won't give us an overall DPS burst. But what I noticed with the AoE approach is that what we have to do is prioritize the Fellcasters, so that way we burn them down as promptly as possible. So for example, when the Fellcasters are present, we would put an X on them and immediately eliminate them. If you notice consistently, we were turning them and then that was causing us to wipe. And that's even with cooldowns and everything being activated. That's how much damage they do, especially when 2 to 3 of them are being taken up at the same point. So back to the fight, right? We're about to hit the 3-minute mark in 10 seconds, and what we're seeing is the two groups are just cleaning everything up as they come through. Now, if you want, there's other options that you can do. You can turn, for example, the players off so that you see just the ads that are present. You can see how the groups move, for example, and how they're surrounding the targets. They're going to start coming into the middle shortly. Had a little bit drop of health in right there. You got to watch out for that. That's watching your feet. Okay, so here we go. Incoming transport, right? They immediately engage the transport and start wrecking damage on it, right? Transport's gone before it even comes in. Crusher's coming out. Boom. Damage into the Crusher, right? Take down the Crusher. And then damage rotates into Urtog, right? So you've got those three. It's like boom, 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 and they're down, and that's what you want to go for. Urtog's at 50%. Keep watching as they go through the target. Groot's at 90%, so now they're targeting Groot. They're working Groot down. Groot's about to get dropped. Blade Fury is activated. Instant poisons, eviscerate, melee. They're working each one of the targets as they come through. You can try to find a Fellcaster, but it seems they go after him with zeal. They're constantly trying to get him down as quickly as possible, especially the groups. Working the Berserkers now, making sure that they take care of the last of the Fellcasters. Here they are over here. So they let the Fellcasters stand up, and they just did what they had to. The burst, and this is a single target approach then. What you want to make sure that they're doing is that when the AoE opportunities come up, you take advantage of the AoE opportunities, and we just don't AoE all the time though. Because if there's Spellcasters present, right, and the AoE is going off, then it's going to end up doing quite a bit of damage. Now, the Spellcasters, one of the things is that they are kind of stationary. They can be taunted and interrupted, and then they move, right? But what they do is they're casters, so they stand still and they end up doing this damage consistently based on the position that they take. So, in all honesty, we could also have the tanks move, for example, the Dragoons, the Brutes, Groot, etc., whoever's present, and move them out of the way, and then that way we can do damage on them in that fashion too, which is really help us out in that. Now they've gone back to the split. They divided the two of them. They're working each one of the targets down. The issue that we keep having when we get to this point here, and this is going back to the first team, to our new team, etc., what we're seeing day in and day out is that we're not getting the boxes up as quickly as we can to just end the encounter. The encounter is designed to overwhelm you for the last few minutes. So the idea is you're just going to keep seeing these huge amounts come out. So whenever a Demolisher, for example, comes out, whenever any siege vehicle comes out, we need to make sure that we're on the target as quickly as possible. While focusing for the Crushers when they come out, we got to get them, transports, got to get them out as quickly as possible, and then rotate back onto the target as is necessary. But as soon as any kind of tank, for example, vehicle is present, we need to eliminate it and get the box up as quickly as possible. And we need to make sure that we're designating, for example, that to a single individual, because the amount of damage that they end up doing is quite significant, because they just keep releasing more and more ads out. And on Mythic, they do a couple of extra things like Cannonball, for example. So you want to make sure that you're watching out for that as you go through each one. The fight's wrapping up here. They're just working on towards the end of it. They're trying to hand in the targets as they can. We can take a look at main target. Like right now, they're focusing on the Berserker. They're trying to take it down. There's a bunch of Dragoons and whatnot present in here. Here comes another Demolisher. They've already committed to the Berserker, so clearly they're trying to get it down. Seems like they're using, he used Mark of Death, so he probably used a cooldown to rotate that in. There's another carry to bring up the next one. Filling up the cannon. The fight usually wraps up shortly, so they're going to end up getting one more carry up, and then that's it. And there you go. That's the end of the fight. Okay, so elements that we want to make sure that we're taking a peek at. All right, again, come to Icy Veins. This is the strategy for Mythic. It shows everything as far as what you need to look at. Make sure that you know this kill order and that you're prioritizing those as they come out. Okay, so remember, it's Murtok, Crushers, Terrors. So make sure that you have some sort of notification involving DBM doing a special warning in big bold letters right in your grill that sits there and says Gorebound Terrors, you know, Terror Flip, Metamorphosis. It needs to say something along those lines, so that way you're in a position to know that that's what you need to switch to. And it wouldn't hurt for you to have a target macro just for Terrors, to be honest, because like if there's anything that has to die immediately in this fight, it's a Terror. And /target macros are a good thing to have, because in the future, whenever we have a priority target, #1 priority target should be there, and you should be able to flip to it immediately. Again, it's the 2 mini bosses and then any siege vehicles. So like this right here, 5 through 9. 5 through 9 is a breakdown of what you do basically until the middle. When you get to the middle, then it's going to be a little bit different. You saw how they went after those two. The transports come out at 3 minutes, and then they come out at 6 minutes and 7 minutes and 40 seconds. So that's how come we get overwhelmed at the very end at 7%, for example, and we don't get that last hand in, because at that point you had a transport come out at 6, you had a transport come out at 740 or 720, and that's just too overwhelming for us to be able to deal with. So it's a burn phase at the last 2-3 minutes, with the idea of getting as many of those crates of ammo up as quickly as possible and just dealing with the increase of damage that's coming out, with most damage being focused naturally into a little bit of AoE, a little bit you know, to take care of the Dragoons and to take care of the engineers that might be up at that point, and then making sure the Spellcasters aren't directly stacked on top of the target. Okay, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. If you liked it, click like. You know what, if you're on my team, click like, just because I want to see likes. It makes my day, you know, so just hit me up right there. If you're new to the channel, make sure you sub. If you're part of the team and you're not sub, please sub to the channel, so that way you can get updates of any future videos. Again, thank you for watching. More to come.